Has anyone ever told you that you're special? Maybe a friend, or a mentor, or a romantic interest. In a weird twist, it could be all three. But most likely this sentiment came from a parent. You know what I mean. Oh, there's no one like you. Oh, you're the best. Oh, you're so talented. So handsome. You could be the president someday. To which the reply is almost usually, thank you, mother, I appreciate it. There is a part of us that desperately wants what our moms told us to be true, to be special, to be unique, to have something to offer that nobody else does. That desire is natural, and I don't mean to diminish the value of diversity, but can everyone be special? Can everyone be unique? Or does that inherently mean that no one is?
And when everyone's super... no one will be.
Now, we can debate whether everyone being special is a good and desirable thing or even possible, but what about traits that are truly rare? Do you know there's a subset of the population that is so rare they only make up 0.17% of the population, but I bet that you know someone with this exact genetic anomaly. There's a popular belief that they may not have souls. They are known as gingers, redheads, carrot tops. That's right, I'm talking about the unique combination of fiery hair, blue eyes, and fair freckly skin. These unicorns among us have had many legends about them over the years. Some say they are double-jointed, some say they can't exist in California, and still others say redheads are twice as likely to enjoy the Star Wars sequels than the average fan.
Never tell me the odds.
Having red hair only appears in 1 to 2% of the world's population, and the odds of having both red hair and blue eyes is a minuscule 0.17%. So my guest today is a redheaded rarity, to say the least, and he joins me now in the studio, Michael Shomler. It's good to have you on the show, finally.
Great to be here.
So what about the intro? What about being a ginger or redhead did we get wrong right off the bat?
I mean, most of that sounds right. I mean, I am double-jointed, apparently. I didn't realize that this means you're double-jointed. One day I was just stretching my hands like this, and my wife, your sister, was, what are you doing? She's like, I can only do this. And I was like, what are you?
A non-ginger.
A non-ginger, yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So...
Huh,
I have a soul, though. I will have to clarify
now,
that.
Now, we can't confirm or deny the existing in California as a ginger is impossible because you've never been, correct?
I have never been to California.
But you're from Washington, right?
I am from Washington, yes.
Do you realize that hundreds of thousands of people from the other side of the world go on vacation to California every year, and you've never made it down?
I have no excuse.
Okay, well...
It's on the to-do list.
Maybe... Gingers just don't have any excuses, neither. No. Michael, before we talk about anything else, I want to bring something up. People that know me and have known me before my sudden, sharp rise to fame, remember me with a darker shade of hair.
Yes.
Now, this isn't even your unadulterated color of your hair, correct? Because
this
you lighten it.
This is slightly lighter than my usual color.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is way lighter than my usual color.
Way lighter.
Because during Christmas... we were all just sitting around, bored, gorging ourselves on chocolate-covered everything you can think of from Costco. And Michael just comes upstairs with some of his lightener and goes, who would like to try this? And
the rest is history.
And check me out. And so my hair's very light. I remember coming back after Christmas break to some of my coworkers, and they would walk into the office and go, what happened? You just caught a lot of sun.
Did you join a K-pop band?
Yeah, what's going on there, Anthony? But it's like, hey, in-laws, stuff happens. So
it's true.
Anyway, I guess you're rubbing off on me in that my hair's starting to look a little more like yours. But I was born in California, so we'll see if I just disappear if we lighten it even more.
That would never happen.
I guess one thing we need to talk about, I have very few problems with you, and even fewer that I'm willing to share. One of them is...
Noted.
I think that the Star Wars prequels are decent, but not great. It sounds like maybe you have a slightly different opinion. If it kind of grew endearing over time, like the cheese left in the back of the fridge.
As long as it's Tillamook. This is not sponsored. As long as it's Tillamook cheese, then it's good in the back of the fridge.
Great. Let's hop off the metaphor, though, because I think some people... Star Wars prequels.
Here's the thing I have the most problem with the Star Wars prequels. Is that back in 1999, when they came out, when I was, in second grade, that was the coolest thing that ever happened. Finally, the Star Wars movie came out. Went and saw it with theaters with my family. I remember that being a very positive experience. Just watching, like, you know, Obi-Wan Kenobi played by Ewan McGregor, and watching Liam Neeson and Qui-Gon Jinn just, like, bust out their lightsabers and start ripping through, you know, battle droids or whatever.
Right.
Over the years, the internet has changed most people's opinion of The Phantom Menace. Because people say, oh, that movie was so bad. Jar Jar Binks, Misa, what is even that guy, right? But I remember the first prequel movie, just being a fun experience. And I watch it back now. I go back and watch it now, and it's still good. I mean, it's not like the best movie that's ever been made.
Sure.
But it's a Star Wars film. It was the beginning of remaking or adding to the Star Wars franchise. In my lifetime, at least.
Right.
And I look back on it pretty fondly.
Maybe a little bit of a... I don't know if I disagree with you. I think for me, I think I went through a phase of, that was kind of hokey, and it came back around. Actually, maybe it was just endearing instead.
Yeah. And
I kind of liked it. But it did open the Pandora's box to, now we can make things like The Last Jedi and The Book of Boba Fett and Solo, a Star Wars story, and all of these veritable flops. I guess it was worth it in the end because we got Jar Jar Binks and the various conspiracy theories that he's really a Sith.
We got Andor, which is really good.
Andor was good.
Mandalorian, 3 seasons of that.
Yeah, most of that's been good. But, I guess I could see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So, but Attack of the Clones, here's the thing. When you get into Attack of the Clones and then Revenge of the Sith, I think one thing that they really overestimated was their ability to do CGI well. And I know it was 20 years ago or whatever, and so we're judging them based on today's standards of, Avatar type stuff. But but I think I kind of missed a little bit of you could tell it's a puppet in the cantina, but it's endearing in its own way, or these sorts of things. I don't know if you have any thoughts on if they went a little too overboard on the CGI, but
I think there's some parts they probably could have gotten away with just classic, chicken wire and sticks and putty.
Sure,
and making some hand puppets and whatnot. Like take Yoda, for example. In Phantom Menace, he's a puppet. Attack of the Clones, he is just bouncing off the walls trying to kill Count Dooku. That transition between those two films was a little bit much for the CGI, but the story in and of itself does set up the next film. They build off of each other. But as far as visual effects, there is a little much in Attack of the Clones.
It's kind of like
differently.
All the puppets left Star Wars and Sesame Street and just started working on Capitol Hill.
They are the first ones in the unemployment line. Yeah.
So anyway, interesting thoughts on that. I know we could probably talk all day about Star Wars, but I think maybe it'd be interesting to move on to a couple other special things. If you've been watching my show, you've noticed a couple of things are always the same. I'm usually in front of this background. I typically am at least funny in my own mind, and you all appreciate that, or at least a few of you do. You'll also notice that I'm usually wearing this wristband, Midnight Atmosphere, written on it. That's the band that Michael is a part of.
Yeah.
And so I am a fan, and I'm always repping the brand.
Thanks,
for my guy Michael.
Yeah, appreciate that.
So,
share, and subscribe.
Hey, exactly. Here and on the Midnight Atmosphere page, of course, but especially here. I'm just kidding.
Hear that? That was a laugh.
But no, so one thing I like to do on the show is just speak openly about people and what they, what makes them special and what makes them different and their unique experiences. So I think one thing that makes our story kind of fun, Michael, is we actually have the same birthday.
We do.
And on some occasions, we have shared the birthday experience together. And I'll go find the photo, but I'll never forget what you gave me a couple years back.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one. The whole outfit.
Tell me a little bit about how you came up with that.
Well, if you know me, I'm a little extra when it comes to gift giving, usually. And I got some background knowledge about Anthony that you have a favorite color, which is red. And I ran with that.
Right.
Red jacket, red shoes, red Tony Stark glasses, the whole kit and caboodle.
All of it.
And it was it's a look.
It was a
look that he very rarely rocks. But when it is rocked well.
I'm going to tell you, I wore the red shoes to a Valentine's Day party and a Christmas party, and that seemed to work out okay.
Yeah. When
I wore them to just church,
a
bunch of the dads were like, don't click your heels or you go back to Kansas or whatever, like making little Wizard of Oz jokes. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, so these are for special occasions only, but no, we have fun. Combining birthdays is an interesting thing. Our family is a little bit extra and over the top when it comes to celebrating holidays.
Yeah.
What did you notice about that and other differences between our family cultures? Because I know you had a little bit of your own culture shock.
Oh, yes.
When you joined in the Jarvis clan.
Oh, yeah. So, like, yeah, it's a bit of backstory, a little context. Like, I didn't grow up celebrating holidays. That's a new thing that I've been doing for the last, 6 or 7 years. And going from not celebrating holidays at all, then, slowly integrating them into my life. Then, boom, 2020. Yeah, 2020, the first Christmas with the Jarvises. It's like Christmas on steroids. There are gifts up to the rafters. There's Christmas breakfast, Christmas lunch, Christmas dinner, Christmas dessert. There's Christmas activities, and that's just one holiday, and then nothing wrong with that. Just like not what I'm used to.
A little extra.
It's a little extra. It's like not necessarily too much of a good thing, but it's like a lot of a good thing.
It's Christmas every day.
Other than that, I think some of your interests where we have a little overlap is being somewhat of a product of the 90s. We both got into Pokemon. Me, not as much as you, but I remember every Christmas you've organized a family Pokemon tournament.
Yes.
We play. If you had to rattle off maybe a favorite Pokemon, what would it be? Or who would it be, I suppose?
My favorite Pokemon is Dragonite.
Why is that?
He is a big, cuddly, delicious-looking dragon. And what more do you want? Just he can either hug you and make you feel warm and cuddly and loved, or he can just vaporize you with his hyper beam. So it's he's powerful and chubby, like me.
I was going to say, it sounds like you're projecting a little, but I didn't want to say it first. That's hilarious. I think if I had to go with a favorite Pokemon, it'd probably be, Charizard, I guess, because he was a titular character in some of the early stuff,
and
I liked some of his early cards.
To Charizard or to Dragonite.
Yeah, I think maybe we can make a little parallel with how Pokemon has gone with a lot of things in America.
Yeah.
Politics, online discourse on social media. It feels like everybody's attacks have increased, and so has their HP. And now we have this inflated... I don't know if you share this opinion on new Pokemon cards, but they have twice, 3 times the stats as the originals.
Oh, 100%.
And it just feels like a nuclear arms race on the same level as how we talk to each other online now, and how we talk about politics. So is there something to the fact that there's a bunch of Charizards and Dragonites running around out there when it comes to other things in life? Do you feel like that's a coincidence, or was that just...
Yeah, I think there's some correlation there. I think, back in the day, the original, Charizard Pokemon card in, 1997 had 120 XP, or HP. And now he has, 400,
right,
500. And, your original starters, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander, 50 HP. Now they have, 80.
Right.
And I think as time has gone on, kids have gotten bored, I'm going to use Scratch. That does 20 damage. Now it's okay, I'm going to flip 3 coins, roll 10 dice, and if it's a Tuesday, this does double the damage.
It incinerates your whole bench or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I get 4 prize cards now. And you're like, but, no, that's not... Yeah, they're adding a lot of rules to Pokemon.
I think the term I would give to it is power inflation.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So power inflation applies to Pokemon and other parts of life since the 90s. I mean, I don't like to get too political on the show, but think about the parallel.
It's your show, so
it's my show. I can do it. I can do whatever I want. Okay. So the power inflation. So think about it. Who was the Republican nominee in 2012? Mitt Romney.
Right.
That's 120 HP Charizard. Okay, you get to 2016, and it's Charizard EX. Platinum Edition, shiny card, you can't even read it, Donald Trump, right? So
graded 10.
Right. If you watched any of the debates in 2012, which I as a high school student did, it was the most civil. You could eat your breakfast to it, and it was just very calm, cool, and collected.
Sip your tea.
We get a few years down the road, and the power inflation in American politics is
it's off the wall.
Yeah, you're on par with the Nazis, and if I'm elected, I'm going to put you in prison. And it was whoa. How do we go from like a 20 HP mudsling scratch from Obama to like slash and burn?
Wow.
Total war. I don't know. That's what I think.
If I had answered that question, we wouldn't be on this show.
Yeah, well,
we would be answering questions over in Washington,
we'd
D.C.
be out there somewhere else
Yeah.
fighting the puppets. That's for sure.
That's
But anyway, I thought that was interesting, and I think maybe a few other things have gotten that way too in society. Where think about this: when I was a kid, my mom would be like, "Hey, don't sit too close to the TV, or stare into the microwave.
It'll melt your brain.
It'll melt your brain." Now think about like an Oculus or a VR headset. It's strapped to your face.
We're
like,
as close to the TV as you can get.
Exactly, and the 8-year-olds aren't buying it for themselves. It's their mothers that were raised by a mother that said, "Don't get too close to the TV." That's like, I want to strap the TV to your face.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of like in Batman Forever, when Jim Carrey is the Riddler. Like he puts that like thing, the suction cup on their head, and like drains their brain juice.
Exactly, that is like what VR is now.
Yeah.
And anyway, that's another interesting thought I had. I do like playing VR games, though.
You are not only a murderer, you are a hypocrite.
No. You know, like the highlight reels of grandmothers thwacking away and falling into the TV.
I find China.
Right, and it's like, oh, my tailbone, and they're like knocking into stuff. Or like they think they're standing on the edge of a cliff, so they back up really fast into.
My Medicare doesn't cover this.
Exactly. Speaking of what's covered and what's not, Michael works for Geico.
I do.
The insurance company. I'm sure you all heard of them. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more
on car insurance.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car insurance.
Pretty good.
Well, British gecko.
That's a good Martin impression, yeah.
Thank you. His name is Martin.
His name is Martin.
Does he come to do corporate trainings with you guys, or?
He does not.
Okay.
But we wish he did.
A guy in a suit, like one of the T-Rex suits?
There is a guy in the suit. He comes around the office every once in a while, but I don't even go to the office very often, so I work from home mostly. But when I'm there, he's usually not.
Never been in the same place at the same time.
But I wonder if we could come up with something either more relaxing or intimidating than a British lizard to sort of... Like if it was like The Godfather is the symbol of your insurance.
Oh.
You just call him and be like...
I'll take care of you.
It was your fault.
Deal with it. Tell
your lawyer it was your fault. And then they're just like, it was my fault, or there's going to be like a gecko head in your bed in the morning or something. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
That's graphic and a little dark.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
because you got the other companies. Who's the make of it? Jake from State Farm, Emu from Liberty Mutual.
Yeah. Flo from Progressive.
And then...
Denzel Washington from Allstate. Is he still doing that?
I don't know, but I know there's like the Mayhem guy from Allstate who's always like destroying everything. And then you have like the general. What's the...
Oh, it's Shaq.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Like the NBA player.
And an actual general from like the U.S. military.
Who is screaming at you every time you call.
Go to the general and save some time,
it's
right?
Like a threat if you don't. Yeah.
Or we'll roll in with the tanks and show you how it's done. But which is funny because if you think about it, car insurance is like, if you don't buy it, you're doing a crime.
Yeah. Being uninsured is against the law.
So at the end of the day, it is true that like a guy with a gun will come and get you if you don't get car insurance.
Yeah.
Because you're like a police officer. I'm saying it in a way that...
They'll write you a ticket.
Right. And then if you don't appear in court for that, they'll come get you.
There's an escalation process.
Exactly. See? Okay.
Sure.
The general. They'll say Shaquille O'Neal himself.
That's generally true.
There you go. I like that. But no, anyway, I think as kind of a last idea there, I don't know what Geico means or stands for. So what's the deal? Is that an acronym? Or?
Yeah, it's an acronym.
Okay.
Yeah. It stands for Government Employee Insurance Company.
So it's owned by the government?
It was actually created for government employees, like the military, back in the 30s.
Really?
Yeah.
At any point in time, was it like partnered with the government or?
don't think it was ever partnered directly with the
It's just
government.
like created for employees of
Government employees, yeah, because they're coming back from the war, like, we need insurance.
Huh.
Here you go. Here's Geico.
Interesting.
Like 1930s Anchorman voice.
You learn something every day.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
But the gecko of Geico didn't come into the scene until like the late 90s.
Yeah. I don't think that really helps with people who are paranoid about like the lizard people. Like they're
That's a
running
fair
everything.
point.
I don't know.
World of dinosaurs, monkey people, lizard people.
Well, as kind of a parting thought, Michael, I view you as somebody, I look up to you. You're somebody I see as genuine, honest with yourself, intellectually and spiritually honest with yourself. You've had experiences in your life, you know what I'm talking about, where you're presented with a new idea, belief, or information, and you're open-minded enough to consider it. And I think that's getting rarer as we face power inflation. We face a dearth of humility and open-mindedness. The real kind of open-mindedness, not the kind that's like, everybody do what you want. It's like, it takes 0% brain power to think that way.
Exactly.
But to be presented by a new argument, information, either religious, intellectual, or otherwise, and sit there and go, let me think about that. I know I'm in my 20s or 30s, but I'm still willing to make a change in my life based on something that I learn or come upon. So do you have any thoughts about why that might be a dying trait in our society, how that's blessed your life, and so on?
Yeah, I think, especially in this day and age where information is available to you everywhere you go, it's, on your phone, on your computer, you can access information wherever you want. The thing is, though, that information is diluted and it's interpreted by other people who have followers or subscribers or whatever, and they tell, like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.
They tell you what to think about the information that they've read for you. Now, if we were just to go and read that information ourselves and form our own opinion, and if that opinion doesn't match up with like the masses believe, you are then shunned or scrutinized. Right? So, in my own personal experience, if I can, read through some information that I am curious about learning about, form my own opinion, and then look at what the masses look at and be like, does this align with what I believe, or does it not?
Right.
So I think if you can get to a point in your life where if you're wanting to pursue higher, loftier goals or learn more about a certain topic, as long as those potential changes don't hurt yourself or hurt your family or anyone close to you,
Go for it.
then go for it. Like, our lives are meant to be lived and to be enjoyed and to learn talents and skills and to express ourselves creatively by any means that's legal and fun.
Yeah.
But I think to answer your question more succinctly, it's like that is a dying art because people are simply becoming more lazy, and we don't want to humble ourselves and learn new skills or trades. We just don't want to, because we can just pay someone to do it.
Right. Pick something up or change an opinion. I'll just say this. I don't think there's anything wrong with a little good old-fashioned confirmation bias from time to time.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a splurge. You wouldn't make your whole diet out of birthday cake, but it's okay to have it sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as you recognize it for what it is and realize that part of being honest with yourself is discovering and learning something new. And by the way, I've talked about this on the show before. You don't have to change your mind when presented with new information, but you should listen.
Right.
Be open-minded. Find out if what you're hearing, it hasn't been packaged up by the thought police trying to sell a particular idea to you. Try and see through the biases, including your own. And then if you don't change your opinion and they're reinforced, great. But you've been honest and open-minded. And I think that's the dying art.
Yeah. At least then if you were going down that path, you'd be taking the opportunity to at least process that information. Not just be like, well, that doesn't align with what I believe.
Right.
By not even looking into it at all. At least take a chance to process that information. If it sounds good, great. If you want to discard it, fine. But at least you've looked at it.
Right, for sure. So anyway, I know we've gotten a little general with the idea, but specifically in certain areas I've seen this work in your life, Michael, and I admire that. And that even when it comes to things like what to do for your job, what to believe about God and the universe around you, That's always something we should be processing and learning, regardless of what stage of life we're in. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think it's impressive when someone like you has made changes in your life, or even somebody much older. I really admire it when someone like that's 75 changes their worldview. Even if it's something I disagree with, it's like, that's cool. Yeah. You know, like that you would have the humility or the wherewithal to do that based on something you've stumbled upon.
It's like the cliche of being old and set in your ways doesn't need to be the standard for everybody.
Right. They don't have to be paired together. As you progress through life, you get more stiffened in your positions, and you get more cemented in what you think. But anyway, Michael, you're an interesting guy. You're an open-minded guy. I really enjoyed having you on the show. I know I'll have you back on soon to talk about some other things. Yeah. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because I, the Thought Police, want to influence you. So don't forget to reach out to the channel. But Michael,
smash that like button, all right? Smash that subscribe button.
Yes.
For my boy, the Anthony Jarvis Show.
Thank you, Michael.
There it is.
And we'll see y'all next time.